Okay, Bhante.
Okay, let us begin with our metta meditation. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another, as a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child. Even so, towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision. Removing desires for sensual pleasures, one comes never again to birth in the womb. This is very wholesome metta thought of well-being of all living beings. With this thought, let us continue our meditation. Let us focus our mind on our breathing. When we focus the mind on the breath or practice mindfulness of breathing meditation, all our thoughts called vitakkas would subside, cease. So that is why Buddha recommended very highly that we practice mindfulness of breathing. As we breathe in, we notice the breath touching our nostrils. We notice our lower abdomen expanding, chest area expanding. As we breathe out, lower abdominal area contracts, chest area contracts, and we feel the breath leaving our nostrils. This is a very natural rhythm. We follow the natural rhythm of the breath, natural rhythm of the body, and natural rhythm of life. We cannot run away from them. As we breathe in and out, we notice that there are two brief pauses, one at the end of inhaling and the other at the end of exhaling. This also happens very naturally. You cannot mix them up, you cannot do anything about it. Then we notice the feeling of breath, perception of breath, attention we pay to the breath, consciousness as we breathe in and out. When we feel the feeling when we breathe in, that will no longer be there when we breathe out. New feeling, new perception, new attention, new aware of consciousness arise, and they also don't mix up. For instance, the feeling we have while inhaling will not be there while we are exhaling. And this also happens very naturally. And then as this happens, as we pay attention to them, our breath becomes very naturally relaxed, soft and gentle. The body becomes relaxed, soft and gentle. The mind becomes relaxed, soft and gentle. When these are soft and gentle, we also notice that the mind does not hold on to anything, because this continuous flux, continuous flow of activities, which in wider sense we can say sankharas, they are naturally arising and passing away. All of them, in very general sense, are marked with this characteristic. And then our wish to hold on to anything also fades away. When this happens, we even become more relaxed, more comfortable. Then our resentment or anger fades away. Mind will begin to feel with metta, and we feel metta feeling. Then we also notice and become aware of the fact that we are practicing for wishing all these suffering beings. There we notice compassion arising in our mind, and restlessness and worry fade away. Then we have certain degree of joy. Then our sleepiness and drowsiness fade away. Seeing all this happening in our practice, we have tremendous faith, confidence in the Buddha, and his very precise, unchangeable truth of Dhamma, the qualities of Dhamma we experience in our own practice, in our life. Then confidence arises, doubt fades away. When these all happen, joy arises, happiness arises, and we gain concentration. This concentration is the concentration of impermanence. This is very special kind of concentration that arises only when we practice mindfulness meditation, vipassana meditation. If anyone practices vipassana without noticing this reality, that person may not be practicing vipassana, may be doing something in the name of vipassana. So that let us practice this without any doubt, with full confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, and see how our minds slowly become pure, clean, free from fetters, hindrances, temporarily, as long as we are in the practice. Let us do this. Dukkha patta ca nidukkha, bhaya patta ca nibhaya, soka patta ca nisoka, hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. With this metta thought and with our background, meditation background, let us try to focus our mind on the answers that I give to the questions that you have asked. What is the first question?
Okay, Bhante. Bhante, this question has to do with the cause and effect or dependent origination of physical body movements. Bhante, is every single movement of the body both the result of the previous micro movement and at the same time the cause for the following micro movement? Is this a very practical, easy to incorporate way of seeing dependent origination and impermanence at work all day long in everything?
That is very true. Very true. Let me repeat the answer. That is, everything, every movement is caused by another movement. First movement becomes the cause, second movement becomes the result, the second movement becomes the cause, the third becomes the result, and so forth. In fact, this doesn't happen in a linear way. That means only one of all these movements take place at one time, but so many countless movements take place in our mind and body all the time. They happen so quickly that it is almost impossible for us to isolate one particular movement to focus the mind on. Therefore, we focus the mind on the movement of all of them as one. That is what I call concentration on the movement, concentration on the changes, concentration of impermanence. I don't think we talk very often about concentration of impermanence. We take impermanence for granted. It happens somewhere over there, but we don't try to become aware of the impermanence. When we try to become aware of impermanence, we cannot find one particular spot, time, place, incident to focus the mind on. The practical way is to see so many things happen so quickly and changing them so quickly, and that changing, that movement, those impermanent movement, we just become aware of those impermanence moment so quickly happening. And that is where we gain true concentration to see what things really are, as they really are. And therefore, dependent origination is moment by moment occurrence along with the impermanence. Every fact of dependent origination is impermanent, that we can see in our personal experience. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante. Dear Bhante, I was so happy to listen to your talk about investigation because I have read that we have to investigate but have no idea how to go about doing it. I wish to report to you that I just did a teeny weeny bit of investigation during my meditation. I believe it qualifies as investigation from what you have just taught us. When I started meditating, I noticed I had a mild headache. I tried to focus on my breath, but noticed a bit of irritation that I should have a mild headache when I wanted to meditate. Then, before I knew it, papancha occurred, and I just drifted like this until I became aware of it and stopped it. I was also a little upset that I let papancha happen. It was a pleasant papancha, and I tried to trace what happened. I was able to trace it back to the initial irritation that I felt having to have a headache when I wanted to have a good meditation. So that is my aversion to my headache. I tried to seek solace in thought. Then I thought I better stop this quote unquote investigation because I was supposed to meditate, headache or not. For a few moments, I focused on my breath and I realized that I had no headache. But as soon as I thought I had no headache, I felt the headache again. But I felt quite happy at this discovery. Then the gong sounded. Is this investigation, Bhante? Should I investigate in my meditation or after?
You can investigate while you are meditating. What you are doing also is correct. You can see from your own experience when you mindfully, without trying to hold on to anything, you notice something arises and passes away. So you investigate the truth of your experience. So what you describe is a good example. I hope you continue this kind of investigation, keeping in mind that you simply want to know what is going on, how they arise, how they pass away, how they affect your life, and how you can be free from that negative impact, how you can be peaceful by seeing the truth. Here, truth is the impermanence. You said you had a headache and it disappears, then you had desire to hold on to it, then headache came back. So you can see the connection between your desire and your experience of pain. Any desire is end up in pain. So you can see that in your own personal experience. I am glad that you pointed out. It is good for everybody to know how we investigate our own experiences.
Thank you,
Okay.
Bhante. Dear Bhante, how do we manage unpleasant mental feelings? Do we watch unpleasant mental feelings equanimously and wait for such feelings to pass? Or do we divert the mind to think about pleasant thoughts or practice metta to overcome unpleasant mental feelings?
Yeah, that there again, if you investigate unpleasant mental state, unpleasant feeling, you will see that unpleasant feeling is not something permanent. It is changing. Of course, if you keep worrying and getting upset and so forth, then unpleasant mental feeling can increase. Even when the body has unpleasant feeling, if you simply notice it, watch it, and be aware of how it arises, how slowly it fades away, you can stay in your awareness for a long time, up to a certain period, without getting too much upset. Then, when it comes to a very unbearably excruciating moment in bodily sensation, with mindful or with awareness of change, you may change your posture. But when you have that feeling, bodily feeling, if you do not see that feeling as something impermanent, then you become mentally experience unpleasant feeling. So we learn to deal with one feeling at a time, whether physical or mental. When mental unpleasant feeling arises, You just notice it without worrying, without fear, without tension, anxiety. Just relax your body and relax your mind, and that mental unpleasant feeling will fade away. And this you will see as happening within yourself, and this is what is called Pachattang Veditabbo Vinyohi, wise individual. This is to be known by wise individuals. Wise individual does not struggle with reality and see it exactly as it is. This is the very nature of truth, Dhamma. Experiencing within yourself and using it for our further mental development and gaining insight, wisdom. Throughout entire Mahasatipatthana and Satipatthana, we read and heard that Samudaya Dhammanupassiva, Kayasming Virti Vaya Dhammanupassiva, Kayasming Virti, Samudaya Vaya Dhammanupassiva, Kayasming Virti. I, I say it in English, seeing rising phenomena of the body, falling phenomena of the body, rising and falling phenomena of the body. That goes with feelings and mind, mental states, and mind object. They all, we see them all arising, passing, and altering in between. And this is happening all the time in our life if we pay mindful attention. That includes in the pleasant or unpleasant feeling. When unpleasant feeling arises, uh, also you can see whether this unpleasant feeling has hatred or resentment as underlying tendency or not. If it doesn't, if it has underlying tendency of resentment or anger, you can replace it with unpleasant, what you call, feeling of renunciant or niramisa, dukkha, that is without underlying tendency of resentment. That make then you can convert that into unpleasant mental states, uh, yearning for attaining liberation. That mental state can be unpleasant, yet that unpleasantness arises because of you are yearn and wishing for attaining that state of liberation. So you can convert unpleasant worldly mental state which has hatred or resentment as underlying tendency into unworldly, unpleasant mental states.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
Keeping with the topic of impermanence, this person would like to know if the mind changes, aka impermanence, how is it able to attain enlightenment?
Yes, that understanding itself, that even the mind is not, as actually that is a good observation, because other things can be, we may see other things changing, but not mind changing, because mind changes much faster than anything else. So the mind should be able to changing mind. No other instrument or faculty that can notice the changing mind. And when we see the mind also is changing, then we can see impermanence, our awareness of impermanence is perfect. Normally we don't see mind changing in ordinary state. When you see even the mind is changing without leaving anything behind, that is what you can do, how you attain enlightenment, liberation, nibbana. So there is nothing that you can hold hold on to, and that state is you can reach, and nibbana is right there. It's like our cat,
Yeah,
the kitten.
that's it. Okay, thank you, Bhante.
You're welcome.
Bhante, this question, this person is trying to understand the difference between stream entry and arhantship.
Well,
Oh, that was just the preface.
okay.
Is stream entry the first encountering of nibbana, the truth for the first time, which causes a temporary release from asavas, while arhantship is being in nibbana and seeing the same truth permanently, which is the complete uprooting of the asavas?
Yeah. Yes. Uh, Stream enterer overcomes certain amount of asavas, like avijjasava. Kamasava, bhavasava are very weak because the person still has the desire to eat, sleep, and so on. And also, since the desire is not completely eliminated, that person can be reborn several times. So certain amount of asavas destroyed. It is true. And also, the one who enters the stream entry can be 100% sure what Nibbana is, and he knows that his path is clear. He knows he has 100% confidence in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and he would not commit very heinous crimes and so forth. As you correctly said, Arahant is the one who has destroyed all asavas and anusayas, underlying tendencies. That is true. That is the difference between stream enterer and arahanthood.
Thank you, Bhante. I know that killing is a bad karma. Once when I was gardening, I accidentally hurt a slug. And then in the evening, I accidentally killed a mosquito. Is this a bad karma? Could you please explain these types of bad karma and how powerful they are?
So now, when you do the gardening, your intention is not to kill any living being, but you are turning the soil and fertilizing, digging holes, and so forth. You do this sort of things. And your intention is not to kill. You don't go out to the garden and say, today I must kill this many worms, this many caterpillars, I kill this many mice, this many snakes. You don't plan for that, and nor do you have intention to do that. Your intention is very to grow vegetables. And farming is a very common thing in human history for long, since the what you call human beings began to develop as humans. So you are not killing any living being intentionally, whether it is in the morning or evening. I mentioned there are 5 factors that must be complete to make your killing complete. That is that is there has to be a living being, number one. Then and knowing that it is a living being, uh, and the intention to kill using a method, you planning a method and employing that particular method to kill. So you you have to there must be a living being, and you should know that it is a living being. There may be living beings, uh, maybe under leaf or rock. Sometimes without knowing, if there is some, we step on a bunch of heap of leaves. Under the heap of leaves there can be a snake. We normally don't step on snake because when we walk we don't know, and we step and snake will bite. Similarly, when you in the first place you should know that this particular object is a living being. There has to be a living being, and you have to have knowledge of living being. Then you have to think, oh, I must kill this living being, intention. Then you plan, take a stick or a rock or gun or whatever, and execute that particular plan to complete your killing. In this gardening, you don't. I don't think you have any of these factors to make your uh, to kill a living being. Therefore, you are not committing a karma there. In order to make a karma, intention is the absolutely necessary factor.
Bhante, what about the sutta with the blind monk?
Exactly, very good.
We can illustrate it.
He reminded me very famous story of a monk who practiced meditation day and night without sleeping. Eventually, he lost his eyesight, and his friends and relatives slowly brought him to the monastery where the Buddha was living. And as his habit, he did the walking meditation in the morning. And since he did not see, he was completely blind. He stepped on many insects and they all died, crushed. So monks went and complained to the Buddha, and Buddha said he has not committed crime, killing. It is just like there is a saying in Pali.
Oh, he says, did you see him kill the insects?
Yeah,
Remember?
the monks said, other monks complained that he killed,
Yeah.
but the Buddha knew that this monk cannot see,
All right.
so he did not tell other monk that he killed. So in order to prove it, he asked, have you seen these insects? Did you kill them? He said, I'm blind, I cannot see anything. It was a famous stanza. I tell it in Sinhalese or the English. rather than telling in Pali, since you don't understand Pali. If there is no wound in your palm, you can handle poison. Only if there is a cut in your palm, when you handle poison, that will go into a bloodstream. I think this is scientifically provable truth. I think some of you who are listening, like this Georgiana and so forth, they are nurses, they know about biology. And there has to be what you call wound in the palm in order for the blood, the poison to enter the bloodstream. Similarly, if there is no intention in your mind of killing, you are not committing unwholesome karma. Yeah. It goes on wholesome as well. You do something without any awareness of whether it is good or bad, you just habitually do it. It may not be a wholesome karma, it may be wholesome, what you call wholesome habit. The moment intention is injected into it, so to say, it becomes karma. Okay, we have 2 more minutes if you have a quick question.
Okay. I get good insights occasionally, but the wisdom is not retained longer, and I go back again to the same unwholesome mental state and thoughts. And it takes me a while again to peacefully meditate and gain the insight. In other words, how do I retain the wisdom I gained for a longer period of time without disruption?
Well, it's the constant practice and seeing the truth very clearly more often, you can build up your wisdom, insight. Insight triggers as soon as you are going to do something unwholesome, insight kick off and immediately you stop. Uh, so you have to develop your insight to that degree for it to be ever ready, ever ready. That happens only through constant training, practicing your mindfulness, your insight. There is no any other trick but cultivation of it. Bhavana paripuri. Uppannanan kusalanan dhammanan titiya asammosaya bhiyobhaya vepullaya bhavanaya paripurya chandanyaneti vayamiti viryangarvati chittam paggannati. Among the 4 efforts, the last effort is the effort to maintain, sustain, support, not to forget, and nourish and repeat again and again in order to make it reconfirm, reinforce in your mind. You got to reinforce your own awareness again and again and again. And that is why we practice every day, morning, evening, daytime, and so on. To reinforce the insight so that you will not forget it again. Okay, with this, I like to end up this morning session, and I thank you all for participating in this meditation and Dhamma discussion, asking questions, and we start all these things with the intention in our mind that all those who are suffering from COVID-19 be free from that suffering and return to their normal life, recover their health and return to normal health, live long in good health. And I said, as I said before, There are many others who are still grieving the death of their loved ones, millions of them all over the world, and we want them to uh, overcome their grief through wisdom, understanding Dhamma, and continuously practicing meditation and return to their normal health, as I have seen some already are in that state and live long in very good health. And there are others who are trying to help those sick people like doctors, nurses, hospital staffs and other pharmaceutical people, experts, and may they live long in very good health with good health to continue their noble service, selfless service. There are others who are uh, making other supports like financial support, physical support. May they continue their wonderful selfless service. And there are leaders who have done marvelous job in their own respective areas, countries, organizations, and may they continue their very wise, far-sighted practices and bring peace to their own communities. There are other leaders who are still not who have still not become wise enough to make right decision with patience, understanding, and compassion. So we want them to have wisdom, understanding, and compassion to make right, wise decision for the benefit of all these suffering beings. With this, I like to conclude this morning's session, and I again wish you all peace and happiness and continue their practice. Okay? That is Lisa.